Hello and a warm welcome to everyone. So this session is about drawing the microscopic diagram of chronic cholecystitis, and it is also not that tough if you understand few essential points. So to understand the histopathology of chronic cholecystitis, first of all we should know the various layers of gallbladder which are normally present. So when we see a normal gallbladder, so gallbladder is a pear-shaped organ, and if you take a section from the wall of the gallbladder and from inside to outside, so inside is the mucosa, but that is the first layer is the mucosa, and then second layer is the connective tissue which is present in the subepithelial layer, also known as lamina propria. Then third layer will be the muscle layer which is composed of the smooth muscle cells, and the fourth layer is the serosa or adventitia. So the side which is free is generally called serosa, and where it is opposed to the liver tissue, there it is called adventitia. So we can call by any name, serosa or adventitia. Again, it is made up of connective tissue only. So these are the layers, these are the normal layers, and how these layers are composed. So first layer, that is mucosa, it is composed of tall columnar epithelium. So you should know the characteristic of tall columnar epithelium, which is that the cells, they are at a 90-degree angle to the basement membrane. So they are perpendicular to the basement. There is a basement membrane and they are perpendicular to the basement membrane, the columnar cells, and the nucleus is also elongated. So this is the morphology of the columnar cells in the mucosa. So there is a single layer tall columnar epithelium seen. Then there is a second layer. Second layer is lamina propria, and it is composed of fibrovascular connective tissues. So fibro and vascular. So you make fibroblast. They are these spindle-shaped cells, and they have elongated nucleus, and the cells they have pointed ends like this, and they have elongated nucleus. So these are the fibroblast. And the next, we need to draw the blood vessels. So blood vessels, they are lined by the endothelial cells. So these are the endothelial cells. They are also spindle shaped, and in the lumen of the vessel we can draw the red or orange colored RBCs. Then these fibrovascular connective tissue, these elements will be seen both in the second layer, that is lamina propria, and also in the fourth layer, which is of serosa or adventitia. Then the third layer is the muscle layer, and muscle layer is again made up of smooth muscle cells. So the smooth muscle cells, they can either be seen in the longitudinal section or transverse section. In the last video on the leiomyoma, I told you that the smooth muscle cells, they have these are again spindle shaped, and their nucleus is cigar shaped. Cigar shaped means they have blunt ends or rounded ends. So here you can see the rounded ends. So this you have to make, and there is moderate amount of eosinophilic cytoplasm. If these cells are cut like this in transverse section, they will be seen like this round nucleus. So this is the transverse section, this is the longitudinal section. You have to remember cigar shaped nucleus. And now we are drawing the diagram of chronic cholecystitis. So in the layers, in the layers of gallbladder, especially in the lamina propria and the serosa, you find these inflammatory cells which will be of chronic nature. So because chronic cholecystitis, not acute. If it was acute, then we would have drawn mostly neutrophils. So these are chronic inflammatory cells. So which all cells we can see? We will see macrophages, rounded nucleus, and foamy cytoplasm, or also known as foamy histiocyte. Then lymphocytes again round nucleus, condensed chromatin, and scanty cytoplasm, which is basophilic. Then plasma cells, which are having the eccentric nucleus, and again basophilic cytoplasm, perinuclear halo. Then eosinophils, they are also chronic inflammatory cells. We can also draw these. So they will have these nucleus. Generally we draw the spectacle shaped or bilobed nucleus, but that is not the rule. They can have more than 2 lobes, but for the ease of drawing we make a spectacle shaped nucleus. And then there is a cytoplasm with the brick red colored granules. So this is how we make the eosinophils. So these are the eosinophils. So we have to draw this diagram of chronic cholecystitis. And there is one more last point in chronic cholecystitis, that the mucosa shows proliferation. So sometimes it dips down and reaches up to the muscle layer. Here it forms a sinus like thing. So this sinus is known as Rokitansky-Ashkoff sinus. So keeping all these points in mind, we should proceed to the drawing of the diagram of chronic cholecystitis. Also, one more point that chronic cholecystitis, it is in 90% cases associated with the gallstones, and 10% cases it is acalculous associated with some critical illnesses. So let's start drawing. So first of all, you draw the first layer, that is the mucosa. Mucosa will be lined by the tall columnar epithelium, which is perpendicular to the basement membrane. Then you make the cytoplasm and nucleus. Then the nucleus will be elongated. Then it will be bland. It will having no atypical features, and draw the nucleus perpendicular to the basement membrane. This is the normal orientation. Next, you can draw it all pink for the background. Then the lamina propria, this is the second layer. Lamina propria, you draw the fibroblast, then blood vessels, then the inflammatory cells, lymphocytes, plasma cells, macrophages, eosinophils, all you can draw. Then next layer is the muscle layer. Muscle layer is sometimes increased in thickness in case of chronic cholecystitis. Also in chronic cholecystitis gravis, the wall thickness is increased. So you make this cigar shaped nucleus, and this is the smooth muscle cells. Lastly, in the fourth layer, you make the fibroblasts. Sometimes the fibroblasts, they are increased in case of the chronic cholecystitis. It is known as subserosal fibrosis. So you can make increased fibrosis also. And lastly, we will label mucosa, lamina propria, lymphocytes, plasma cells. Come together, we can call it lymphoplasmacytic infiltrate. Then Rokitansky-Ashkoff sinus, often seen in chronic cholecystitis. You label the muscle layer. So all that information that you have, you label it. Then serosa or adventitia. So again, you can also draw the inflammatory cells in the serosa. This is the completed diagram. And you can draw the lymphocytes, plasma cells also in the serosa. Then eosinophils you can add, and also fibrosis. I told you the subserosal fibrosis. So you can make the pink collagenization, this like this, which is acellular. These pink areas of collagenization. So there is the increased subserosal fibrosis in chronic cholecystitis. So this is how you make a diagram of chronic cholecystitis, and I hope this video is helpful, and feedback is most welcome in the comment section. Thank you so much.